Rhunok and Infydel, a battle for which I had high expectations. Have these expectations been met? Partly. The sets both look pretty great, but there's been some issues you don't know of yet. You will see what I mean. You also may have seen my post about the voting coming to an early end. You will also see what that was about. But first let's begin with my analysis. They both have a task to create a set that resembles a character from different media. Rhunok made young Link from a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and Infydel made Shredder from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Both very interesting concepts with a lot of potential. But first of all, Infydel used 5 items from the same set. The helmet, shoulders, cape, wrist and boots are all from the LFR version of the Aberrus set for rogues. Even though you can't see the wrist, I still give the 10-point penalty. There are rules that every participant knows since I clarified them in the same video where they got the information on how to qualify. Usually I would say screw it since you don't see them anyways. However, this is not the only problem we have, but more on that later. Graphics. Both sets are relatively even. Nothing that sticks out too bad, it all looks pretty good. 10 points for both. Also, Blizzard! Hair underneath the helmet? When? Please make it happen. Thank you. This Link would have looked so much better if we would have seen the actual hair. Color coordination. They both have very fitting colors. Infidel's set is very monotonous but matching, and Rhunok's set is more colorful, but the brown color of the helmet looks a bit off. Both still have potential to make it better, and both get 8 points. Theme. As you know, they recreated different characters, and there are a few things that I like on their attempts, and a few that I dislike. Let's start with Rhunok's version of Link. Obviously, it's difficult to create a child as a character. Using a gnome is definitely something that has to bring flaws with it, because everybody hates gnomes, but it was the only viable choice. Sadly we can't see the hair, which would have made it so much better as I already said, but I really can't blame you for this. Also for the chest piece you could have picked something better. I tried something myself by using the Azerothian Archivist chest piece, and although my version has a clipping problem with the helmet, I would still prefer it, since you can see the leather strap on the chest and back, just like young Link has on his Tunic of Time. It's not perfect, but slightly better in my opinion. However, to be fair, these chest pieces were not in the game when you were making the set, except for the Recruited Friend version, which at this point also is not available anymore. Therefore you really couldn't take it at all. Basically I just wanted to show my own attempt to make the set better. However, you also did some really good things with this Transmog. The belt is a perfect choice, it's literally the exact same belt. The shield is also the best you could have picked, and so are the boots. Overall, you did pretty much the best you could do to create what you had in mind, and that deserves recognition. Even though it's not perfect, you really have put your heart into it, and it shows. 19 points. Infidel's set may look like Shredder, but it's pretty much all thanks to the fact that this rogue set just happens to look like that. And I have 2 problems. First of all, why use katanas instead of Shredder's iconic Shredder blade, which is basically exactly how it is, usable in the game? And second, and that irritates me the most, Shredder has no cloak. Why did you use a cloak? And why did you use the cloak from a set you already used 4 other items from? You really threw away 10 points for absolutely nothing. I am giving you 14 points for the theme, but it could have been much more if you paid some more attention to detail. Extra points. Well, here we have something interesting today. When Infydel has sent me a set, it looked a bit different. It looked like this, to be precise. The shoulders are only available for rogues. The chest and legs are only available for monks. Additionally, the chest and legs are no longer available at all, since they were an elite version of an arena season and therefore not viable according to my rules. And the weapons he used are both the Blade of Hana, a 2-handed sword, as a rogue. There's so much wrong with this, it's incredible. When I first received this set, I didn't look too deep into it since the participants all should know the rules and know what kind of transmogs are viable. During the qualifications I made exceptions for that, but mistakes like these really shouldn't happen at this point. I just noticed it when I was working on the video and Infydel had no time to fix these mistakes, so I had to do it on my own. And honestly, now as I'm looking at this original set again, I realized that the chest and legs also would have been a bit off color-wise. So first of all, I remove 1 point from his 8 for color coordination. And yeah, extra points. Rhunok did everything he could to make the set fitting to his inspiration, and he also made it pretty unique. As in every round before, Rhunok also made sure to use items from many different places and still have them all fitting together in the best way possible. Infydel has taken a set that's done by Blizzard and added items that are not viable, not in the rules of a tournament and not in the rules of a game. Also, apparently he took the first weapons he could find, which were also not viable, and didn't even bother to find something that's more fitting to his inspiration, which is definitely in the game. Infydel is actually the reason I added the 4 items of a 1 set restriction, since in the qualification he also used 5 items from the same set. And he did it again. Also, something very fishy is how many likes Infydel has in every single round. Even in the last round against Demonos, where both of them basically had the exact same set. Call me crazy, but I think someone wants to manipulate the user vote in his favor. Just a feeling. Other participants are trying to win this fair and square, and since this is my tournament and I can give the extra points any way I like, I give 10 points for Rhunok and 0 for Infydel. Some of you may not like my decision, but I gave every single point with a good conscience, and I think what I am doing here is fair. So it all depends on the user vote. And you may have wondered why the voting came to an end so suddenly one day early. Truth is, Infidel's vote in the qualifications and the match against Demonos suddenly got 10 to 15 new likes in the last 3 hours. And usually in the last 3 hours of the voting time, all the other videos only get like 10 clicks at all, maybe? I don't support this kind of behavior and I wanted to stop it before it could happen. You could argue that it wasn't fair on my part and you might be right with that, but I think deep down you understand my decision and you know that I am right. I want the better Transmog to win and not the person with the most friends. Together with a user vote that's clearly in favor of Infydel, what a surprise, Rhunok still wins this round with 1 point. Congratulations! He will face Fish in the semis, and tomorrow we have Thunderdar vs Ashandian, who both made sets for Hunters, using a fitting Hunter pet. If you disagree with my decision, feel free to flame me in the comments below. I stand behind my actions. Especially because Infydel gave Shredder a cloak, which was completely unnecessary and bought him a 10-point penalty. You brought this on yourself, buddy. Anyways, I still hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Until then, see ya!